There are objects in the universe so massive that every comparison ever created by humans becomes meaningless. Forget the majestic mountains, forget the giant planets, or even the brightest stars you have ever seen in the night sky. This is where the laws of physics begin to dissolve, a place where gravity not only pulls matter, but also bends space itself, freezes time, and imprisons light forever. You are looking at an entity unlike anything we have ever known, a colossal dark abyss, shrouded in a terrifying shell of fire. What could possibly exist at such an absurd scale? How can an object sitting at the very edge of darkness, billions of light years away from us, still shine so brilliantly that it pierces through time to reach our lenses? And more importantly, why could a monster with the mass of tens of billions of suns appear so early in cosmic history, as if it had been waiting there since the dawn of time? Welcome to the dossier on the most terrifying entity ever discovered. The dossier titled Ton 618, the Devourer of Galaxies. Let's travel back in time to 1957. At the Tonantzintla Observatory in Mexico, scientists were diligently scanning the sky to map out faint blue stars. Everything back then was so orderly. The universe in our eyes at that time was a quiet place, with isolated galaxies and stars operating in predictable orbits. Among those millions of points of light, they found a target designated Ton 618. At that time, it was only recorded as a faint blue star located on the edge of the constellation Canes Venatici. No one had even the slightest suspicion. Not a single soul thought that faint point of light contained a power capable of devouring every physical theory humanity had ever built. But the breaking point of perception began to emerge when we looked deeper into the nature of that light. When astronomers conducted a spectral analysis of Ton 618, they realized something unthinkable. Its emission lines did not match any star in the Milky Way. It was moving at a terrifying velocity, and most importantly, it was located far, farther than any star we had ever observed before. That was the moment when what we thought was a tiny star turned out to be the center of a galaxy billions of light years away from Earth. For an object at that distance to be clearly visible on our telescopes in the 1950s, it had to possess a source of energy so immense it was insane. We realized we were wrong. Ton 618 was not a star. It was a quasar, a lighthouse of darkness, powered by something that, at the time, we didn't even have a formal name for: a supermassive black hole. This truth didn't just change the star maps, it completely shook humanity's belief in a peaceful universe. Try to contemplate this. When the first particles of light from Ton 618 began their journey through the void to reach us, Earth did not yet exist. The solar system was not even a concept. Even the atoms that make up your body right now were still scattered within the nuclear furnaces of ancient stars that died long ago. That light has persevered on its journey for billions of years, crossing vast intergalactic voids, witnessing the birth and demise of countless civilizations that may have once existed before reaching our lenses. At that time, the universe was still a place full of violence and instability. The first galaxies were taking shape, and the first generations of stars had just begun to light up the primordial darkness. This means that every time you look at a photo of Ton 618, you are not just looking further into deep space. You are taking a leap back in time, touching the oldest secrets of all things. We are not observing an object. We are receiving an ancient signal, a message from an era where our laws were perhaps still being written. But why could a signal from such a distant past be so bright? Why was it not swallowed by the darkness of billions of light years? Cast aside the images of a silent and lonely black hole in the dark, Ton 618 is the perfect antithesis of that concept. It is not just a black hole. It is the heart of a quasar, a quasi-stellar object, one of the most violent and brilliant phenomena to ever exist since the Big Bang. Billions of tons of gas, dust, and the corpses of stars are pulled by devastating gravity into a death spiral. Here, matter is compressed and rotates at velocities approaching the speed of light. Atomic level collisions and friction generate temperatures in the trillions of degrees, transforming the region around the black hole into a massive nuclear furnace, releasing energy across all wavelengths from radio waves and visible light to lethal X-rays and gamma rays. Because of this very mechanism, Ton 618 becomes a cosmic lighthouse in the literal sense. While ordinary stars are submerged in the darkness of billions of light years in distance, the light from this quasar pierces through it all. It is so brilliant that astronomers can use it as a tool to illuminate the darker structures of the early universe. It illuminates the path for us to see what happened when the first galaxies were still taking shape from the wreckage of nothingness. But do not let that brilliance deceive you. This light does not bring life. It is the product of a destructive process on an unimaginable scale. With every passing second, this lighthouse is consuming an amount of matter sufficient to form hundreds of planets like Earth. And that is only the beginning. Because behind the brightest lamp in the universe is an energy machine with power enough to change the fate of an entire galaxy. To understand the power of Ton 618, we must abandon all conventional scales. The total energy emitted by this quasar is equivalent to the combined light of 140 trillion suns. This number is so vast that if you were to gather all the stars in our Milky Way into a single point, they would still be as dim and weak as a firefly standing before a detonating thermonuclear bomb. Consider a terrifying hypothesis. If we were to teleport Ton 618 to the center of the Milky Way, approximately 26,000 light-years from Earth, immediately it would become the dominant object in the sky. It would shine 23 times brighter than the full moon, turning night into day and erasing every concept of darkness humanity has ever known. But that brilliance would also be a death sentence. Radiation from it would roast the atmosphere of any planet within a range of thousands of light years. But light is still not the most terrifying thing. In the chaotic region around the black hole, magnetic fields are twisted to the point of snapping, creating relativistic jets. These are colossal plasma beams, ejected from the black hole's two poles at velocities approaching the speed of light. They streak through space, extending for millions of light years, far exceeding the scale of the host galaxy itself. These jets are like swords of the gods, tearing through anything in their path. Ton 618 does not only illuminate the universe, it also reshapes the destiny of everything around it. Its horrific heat and radiation pressure have blown away massive clouds of gas, the raw material for creating new stars. It is starving its own galaxy. By halting the star formation process, Ton 618 has turned its host galaxy into a cosmic graveyard. Look at the black hole at the center of our galaxy, Sagittarius A*. It weighs 4 million times the mass of the Sun, a figure enough to make us feel small. But compared to Ton 618, Sagittarius A* is just a fragile grain of sand. Ton 618 is 16,000 times heavier than our black hole. To create such a monster, you would need to compress billions of stars, millions of solar systems into a single point. It is no longer just a celestial body. It has become an ultramassive black hole, a category that scientists had to create just for insane entities like this. But mass is not the only thing that is shocking. Let's talk about its physical size. The event horizon of Ton 618, the point of no return, has a diameter of up to 400 billion kilometers. To make it easy to visualize, our entire solar system, from the Sun to the distant orbit of Pluto, could fit comfortably inside its mouth. In fact, if you were to place 10 more solar systems inside it, they would still be swallowed without leaving a trace. Light, the fastest thing in the universe, would also take several weeks just to complete one full orbit around this pitch-black circle. At this scale, numbers begin to lose their meaning. The human brain was not designed to comprehend a space so vast, yet containing nothing but darkness and absolute gravity. Ton 618 is no longer just an object for us to observe. It has become a hole in the fabric of space-time, a place where reality is compressed to the point of total collapse. But what would happen if you dared to venture closer? If you cross the brilliant boundary of the quasar to enter the realm of the ruler of darkness, welcome to the place where physics begins to warp. Imagine you are on a ship hurtling toward ton 618. From a distance, it looks like a masterpiece of light. But as you get closer, you will realize you are not just approaching an object, but entering a trap of space-time. The deeper you go, the surrounding scenery begins to become so absurd that the human brain cannot process it. Surrounding the event horizon is a fierce land, the glow of imprisoned photons. Here, gravity is so strong that light no longer travels in a straight line. It is bent, turned back, and lingers around the abyss like souls that cannot find an exit. If you look to your side, you can see the back of your own head, because the light reflecting from your body has travelled a full circle around the black hole and returned to your eyes. Space is no longer a straight line. It has been bent into a vicious circle. But the distortion of space is still not the most terrifying thing. The real curse lies in time. Under the pressure of ton 618, time begins to dilate. Every heartbeat of yours near the edge of this black hole could be equivalent to thousands of years of history passing on Earth. By the time you have only just blinked, the civilizations you once knew may have crumbled, and distant stars have exploded into ashes and dust. You are living in an eternal moment, while the entire universe out there is racing toward death. As you reach the final boundary, the event horizon, another strange phenomenon will occur: gravitational redshift. All light emitted from your ship will be stretched to the point of disappearing completely from the spectrum visible to the human eye. To a remote observer, they will see your ship gradually turn deep red, fade away, and then freeze forever at the edge of the black hole like a monument made of light. But for you, the journey has only just truly begun. A journey into the place where physics officially surrenders. Crossing that boundary, you will face the singularity. Here, density becomes infinite. All of humanity's understanding of matter, energy, and logic collapses. It is not just the end of a journey. It is the place where the universe hides secrets that we may never be allowed to know. But ton 618 is not just terrifying because of what it devours. It is terrifying because its very existence poses a question that makes the scientific world tremble. An existence so absurd that it causes the most brilliant minds at NASA to question everything they once knew about the history of the universe. According to the standard model, a black hole needs time to mature. It begins as a small seed, the remnant of a dead star, and then grows larger by devouring matter or merging with other black holes. This process is incredibly slow. It is like building a skyscraper from small bricks, taking billions and billions of years to reach a supermassive scale. But this is exactly where logic collapses. The light from ton 618 shows that it had reached a mass 66 billion times that of the Sun when the universe was only a few billion years old. To make it easy to visualize, it is like walking into a kindergarten and finding a child who is 10 feet tall and weighs 1,100 pounds. That is simply impossible. How could such a colossal entity accumulate enough matter in such a short amount of time? According to all calculations of accretion limits, ton 618 should not exist on that scale so early on. This impasse forces the scientific community to propose bold, even radical hypotheses. Perhaps it did not start from a star. Some believe in the direct collapse hypothesis, where massive gas clouds in the early universe collapsed under their own gravity to create giant black holes right from the starting line. Or, more terrifyingly, ton 618 could be a primordial black hole, born from density fluctuations in the very first seconds of the Big Bang. This means that this darkness was present even before the first light of the stars was kindled. The latest data from the James Webb Space Telescope is gradually lifting this veil, but every answer brings 10 new questions. Ton 618 stands there, silent and challenging. It reminds us that the book of the universe still has torn-out pages that humans have never read. And perhaps its existence is not a mistake of the universe, but a testament that we still understand nothing about the nature of reality. Ton 618 exists in a grim paradox. On one hand, It is the most brutal destroyer that space has ever created. With the power of a maximum quasar, it is performing a purge on a galactic scale. The heat and radiation winds from it are so strong that they blow away all raw materials for the formation of life out of the host galaxy. It turns the birthplace of stars into a barren and silent desert. Under the rule of Ton 618, life has no chance to begin. But on the other side of the coin, that very brutality brings us a priceless gift. Because it is brighter than all galaxies combined, the light from Ton 618 acts as a giant cosmic flashlight. On its 18 billion light-year journey to reach Earth, that ray of light has passed through dark intergalactic gas clouds, places that humans could never see in any other way. As it passes through, the light is partially absorbed, leaving behind incredibly detailed chemical fingerprints of what the universe contained billions of years ago. Thanks to Ton 618, we don't just see darkness, we see memories. Analysing its light allows astronomers to measure the chemical composition of the universe when it was still in its teenage years. We learn how the first elements were sown, and how gas clouds contracted to create progenitor galaxies. Ton 618 has become a massive diary, archiving the records of the first chapters of the history of all things. It is a blind guide, using its destruction to illuminate the path of perception for a tiny species halfway across the universe. But when standing before an entity of such divine proportions, we are forced to ask, where is humanity's place in this gargantuan picture? Our entire civilization has only existed for a blink of the cosmic eye. Meanwhile, Ton 618 has reigned there, devouring galaxies and warping reality since billions of years before our first ancestors knew how to create fire. It does not know of us. It does not care about the existence of Earth. To an entity of this divine stature, the survival of humanity is nothing more than the vibration of an atom in the void. We are too fragile to touch it, too short-lived to witness it change, yet we are intelligent enough to understand it. With a brain weighing a mere 3.3 pounds, humans have mastered mathematics and physics to extend our vision across a distance of 18 billion light-years, unravelling each secret of this colossal monster. We cannot change Ton 618, but the fact that we can perceive its existence is the greatest miracle of life. Ton 618 terrifies us because of its scale, but at the same time, it honours the extraordinary capability of human intellect. It reminds us that even though our bodies are imprisoned on a tiny planet, our minds can encompass the entire universe. Standing before the abyss of Ton 618, humans do not just see the darkness of death, they see the light of understanding. Ultimately, the darkness of Ton 618 is not the end of light, but the beginning of greater questions. How many more entities like Ton 618 are lurking in the silence of deep space? And, more importantly, are we truly ready to face the truth behind that darkness? The answer still lies on the other side of the event horizon. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next dossiers on the universe's most terrifying mysteries. This is Dark Orbit. Thank you for stepping into the abyss with us.